Hi, this is Lyndsey at Licorice Pizza Records for LPTV. I'm here with Ladytron. They were just here signing for the fans Paradises, your new record. First of all, thank you for coming to Licorice Pizza.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And congratulations on the record. I wrote some stats on it. Okay, so this is your 8th album. It's your 2nd as a trio. It's a landmark record for you because I believe it's your longest record, 16 songs, 73 minutes. And a lot of people are saying it's a kind of a full circle record for you because some of it was recorded in Liverpool. It's like your danciest record in a long time. And actually, I believe you have said it is the result of like your most productive, inspired creative phase in a really long time, maybe since those early days. So I guess first of all, I love the record. Congrats. But I want to know this burst of creativity or productivity or renewed lease on whatever, where did that spring from?
I think from personally, because the last record was like made in such difficult circumstances, the previous record.
I'm unaware of this difficult circumstances.
We basically started it just 1 week before lockdown in 2020, which, did complicate things.
I imagine so.
Slightly. And so we went through all that and we still made a good record, but it was just now it's like we want to have fun mainly, and that was a catalyst. And we were still on tour, actually. We hadn't finished touring yet, because normally it's like demarcated. You finish tour and then go, we have to make a record now. But we were still on tour or between stints, and started working, and we had like a new record, what felt like a new record very, very quickly. It was basically written, demoed about 2 years ago. So, obviously, we carried on working on it, mixed it and everything else. But it was just this really intense period where every time, we went in the studio after an hour, there was a new tune or a new song. And there was various reasons for that, but fun, principally.
What kind of fun were you guys having?
None.
None?
You see, it was all...
No,
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's not true. Yeah, I think, like, as Danny said, there was maybe like a lot of pressure on us before, like 2020, like on those kind of years. And so this time around it was just like freer and like no stress. And so I think that probably the best comes out of you at those periods. So yeah, quite productive really. Yeah.
Your producer Jim said it was this is in the press release, so it's out there. He said that he thinks it's your best album since Witching Hour, which is one of your classic records that you were also signing vinyl of here today. I guess I'll ask you if you agree with that.
I mean, I think he would say that because he worked on it. So
and he produced Witching Hour.
Yeah.
But he's worked with us since. He's worked with us since as well. So
I think he's right. I mean, the best thing you've done is you would hope the last thing that you've done. Mm-hmm. So we always feel that way, like positivity and that we've put out the best thing that we possibly could. So,
but also the objective of making a new record, you should be aiming to make your best record, or it's pointless. So we did feel like that and double down on that, as I say, because we felt freer. And we didn't have these external circumstances like obstacles. But Jim, I think he might be right in some ways. It feels like, if not the best one of the best ones to me.
Either of you?
It's the longest record.
Longest. I like a long record. If it's a good record, if it's not over, it doesn't feel. I was listening to it today on the car, the LA traffic ride over here. It was for the whole drive, and it didn't feel long. The drive felt long because I was stuck in traffic. But it didn't feel like a long record. Like, come on, like it goes by quite fast.
I think it's really like coherent. Mm-hmm. Like it all makes sense as one. Mm-hmm. Whereas sometimes not our albums, obviously, but some people's albums,
who shall remain nameless.
You're like, where did that track come from? Or that doesn't really fit, or it's not in the sphere or the world that you were previously in. And so, which, can be a good thing, but I think as a whole, it just all seems to work. So maybe that's why it doesn't feel as long as it maybe is.
I mean, it is a double album, basically.
Is it?
Yeah, but we just didn't call it that, but it is.
Is it on 2 vinyl?
Well, it's
vinyls?
on 2 vinyls.
Okay.
And yeah, in the old days, it's a double album. So even today, records are coming out that are under 30 minutes. So
that's true.
Yeah, some people interpret it as a double. Some people just think it's a long record.
but long in a good way. I'm just making a point of that. Do you consider, given what Jim said, and also the fact that when you offered two different things that people could sign here today, two different records, and one of them was Witching Hour, do you consider them companion pieces in any way, or a sequel to that? Is there any through line between the two?
I don't think they're companions. I mean, there's such a huge gap between them. We're different people. We're making different music.
If anything, it kind of reminds me actually of the earlier two records, sort of in a state of mind. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it just kind of takes me back to that era of writing or working. 604 and Light and Magic. There's an innocence to it somehow.
I think its connection to Witch Now for me would be that it feels like a jump. It's a jump in terms of ambition, mm-hmm. and I think it has that in common rather than aesthetic.
So I mentioned that some of the record, not all of it, but some of it was recorded in Liverpool, which is where you're from, and some of the things I've read about this record say it harkens back to this kind of 90s era of what was going on in the clubs in Liverpool. A lot of people think Liverpool and they think Beatles. I guess that's the obvious one. But like there's a really rich electronic history from there, like OMD and even Dead or Alive and The Turdock Explodes. And there's just like a cool artsy. It's not all Beatles stuff. Beatles are great, of course. But so I'm curious about if those days like I sadly never got to go to these clubs, but like Cream and Voodoo are famous ones. If any of that was informing the record. I know you're not like especially nostalgic people, and we could get more into that, but there is some nostalgia to this record.
Yeah, it's subconscious. It's something basically forcing its way out. And I think that in Liverpool that time, I mean, it was probably before we really knew each other, but the scenes we were involved in was more underground. But those huge dance clubs were going on, and it made Liverpool, because it's not a big city. Mm-hmm. It's a world city, but it's not very big. There's under 1 million people there.
Under 1 million?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In the entire metropolitan area.
Huh.
So, but Cream every Saturday, so many people came in from outside, and me and my friends had this little party on like a parallel street, like one block over, and if Cream sold out, those people who were going for house music would end up coming in our party and dancing to Northern Soul and Weird Underground Records or whatever, but they would be reacting to them as if they were house music.
Scouse House. I've heard that term. Yes. Is that really a thing? Scouse House?
It's really a thing. It's really a thing. And so it wasn't our scene. I think Voodoo was probably closer to us, but it wasn't our scene. But I had like a studio, and well, it became a studio because the guy next door to our office, he was a Scouse House producer. And I got talking to him one day, and this was like just different worlds of music. I felt like we had nothing in common at all. But I saw how easy it was. Basically, I went in the studio, I was like, wait, you just make records here and just release them, and you don't sit in a rehearsal room with a band 4 nights a week and doing all these things that really take a lot of time and effort, and you just release records. And that was like an epiphany. He basically taught me how to sequence and program. So I think that point, Scouse House is actually responsible for Ladytron in some way. So maybe we are Scouse House, actually. That's what we are. I mean, we should start calling ourselves
Scouse House adjacent.
Scouse House adjacent.
I like just saying Scouse House. It's just like fun to say.
My friend had a band. He had a song called Scouse House Spouse.
I did look up. I mean, I knew some of this, but some of the kind of more arty or dancey artists that came from Liverpool, besides the ones I mentioned, like the KLF, are from the Farm. Great, like kind of. I guess I always thought them as a Manchester band, but they weren't.
They were going on what was going on at the same time as that, but just down the motorway.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Of course, yeah. Holly Johnson's a mate of ours.
Oh, really?
And a fan, yeah.
There's a documentary coming out on them. I cannot wait to see. I love them. And actually, a flock of seagulls are from there, which I did not know. Wikipedia helped me out on that. But I'd love to, since I said a lot of people think of like Mercy, the Beatles and other bands of that era when they think of Liverpool. And I've been to Liverpool, and there's like a lot of Beatles tourism there, at least in the city. I'd love to hear more about like that scene, that maybe the Wombats, I think, are from there as well.
Yeah, they went to LIPA, like Paul McCartney's kind of School of Performing Arts there. I guess that's seen the kind of the post-punk thing you know, a lot of our friends were part of that, like Jane Casey from Pink Industry and Big in Japan, people like this.
Big in Japan is kind of crazy who was in that band.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read Budgie's book?
Yeah. So you've seen the rock family tree about it.
No, but I imagine it's like
they're the
branches.
top of the family tree. You've got them and Deaf School, and then just every single person in a band in the 80s had been in one of these bands.
I know. And I did not know that until I read actually Budgie's really good autobiography, and it was like, yeah, Holly Johnson was in it. He was in it. One of the KLF guys was in it.
Bill Drummond, yeah. So Jane
Ian
Casey.
Browdy from the Lightning Seeds.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy cow, how do I not know about this band? It's crazy.
Yeah, the repercussions of that were going on. They were going on for decades. I mean, Lightning Seeds was still, you know, well into the late 90s, 2000s. But to be honest, that scene is all was dovetailed with the dance thing as well. Like Jane Casey ended up working for Cream. She was like the strategist. She's kind of who turned it into, you know, this global super club brand. So it's all really the same people. I didn't realize at the time when I was a teenager that these were the same people, that these were all the punks, all the house people were, had all been on the same scene.
It's club driven, isn't it? It was sort of, you know, the Cavern, then it was Eric's, then it was, you know,
Cream, yeah.
Like,
is Eric's the Yazoo upstairs at Eric's?
It's named after it, yeah.
Are they from?
No,
They're
but
not.
I think that they played there, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so
The Eric's.
Yeah, Eric's was kind of, I mean, Eric's is actually on the original site of the Cavern. It was, the Cavern was, actually, maybe I shouldn't tell anyone this, because the tourists line up. Yeah, it's not real.
No, I knew that the Cavern that exists now isn't the Cavern, but I did not know about the whole Eric's thing.
Yeah,
you should do like cool Liverpool tours.
Actually,
Yellow Submarine tours.
Peter Hooton from the farm. Peter Hooton from Farm already does it. He's one step ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
I will book that. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how, when I did not realize that Liverpool was as small as it was, how many amazing artists have come from relatively, I guess Manchester's not that big either. And
it's
same
about
deal.
Twice the size, because you think about it, we're a port, so half of our catchment area is in the Irish Sea. So not a lot comes from there.
Okay. Well, you also recorded this album, Paradises, in London and at the studio where my favorite David Bowie album, Scary Monsters is my favorite David Bowie album. And I'd love to hear about that experience.
I mean, that's like hallowed ground, Dean Street Studios. It was nice to record in Soho in central London and just be within that. I mean, Soho, it's like, it's changed obviously like anywhere in the world. But it still has that vibe it had when we started in the 90s. It was Visconti's old studio.
Oh, okay.
And it was Jim Abbott's idea to do a week in there of basically just chaos, taking a more or less a finished record and just doing this chaos phase where we just experimented and turned things upside down and added textural stuff. And it was really worthwhile. It felt like it felt like we needed that phase to just, before we mix, just let's see how far we can push it.
Is that typical or atypical of how you guys record, to have something and then add some chaos to it?
It was Jim. Basically, Jim said to mix, he was going to mix the album. He offered to mix the album. And then he said, I don't want to just mix it. I want to be hanging around in the studio with you and be mates with you and do all this fun stuff. He didn't want to just be an abstract on the mixing board. He wanted to be involved. So that's why it went to mix and additional production. So I wouldn't say it was typical, but it was just a lot more efficient. It was like, we'll do all that stuff in that week,
But we do always basically sort of, we all produce stuff at home to a certain level and then, in various studios, and then we do sort of gather around and then throw the unknown elements and kind of make it, I guess, more cohesive at the same time as well.
It's like light and magic. Like we did basically that here. Like we came out here for 2 weeks in 2002, so around this time of year, and we had something that sounded like a record already. But we went in, we did 2 weeks with Mickey Petralia and in the studio in Los Feliz. So I don't think, it's surprisingly few people know that record was recorded here.
It's Los Feliz because we say it wrong.
All right, yeah.
You said it like proper, like how Spanish is. But
did I say it? Okay.
You said it right, but in LA we say Los Feliz. I don't know why.
Okay.
Just FYI. That's my tour guide. But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, so I think it's surprising. I feel like a lot of people here, like the band don't know that we recorded that record here. I'm not sure how well known it is. No. Yeah. So
obviously I mentioned Bowie, and then that takes me to Brian Eno. Obviously, I assume the band is named after the Roxy Music song, Ladytron.
Yeah, it'd be weird if we weren't.
Yeah, I guess.
Never heard of it.
But I mean, I just wanted to make sure I was fact checking that. But obviously, you're named after a Roxy Music song, and Brian Eno obviously associated with Bowie. And I know that he said something around the time when you guys were blowing up that you were like the best of English pop music. And I also know you played with him a couple times at Sydney Opera House. And I just want to know, I mean, to have obviously, presumably someone who's a huge icon and influence for you to say such wonderful things about you. I mean, what did that mean to you guys? You're speechless.
I think the first time it was his daughter actually who said these things to us.
His daughter introduced him to us.
Yeah.
His daughter played us to him.
But I also remember meeting her in Oxford.
Yeah, you met her first.
Yeah. And that was like, oh my God, her dad's heard of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I mean, but then he didn't just hear about you. He thought, he said pretty high praise for you guys and had you guys play with him. Like, did he ever give you any advice or anything?
He did, actually. So he put us on at this festival at Sydney Opera House. He curated, and he had his artwork and stuff projected on the walls of it. I remember he did give me some advice personally. He said after the gig, he said, "You should sing more." And I said, "What do you mean? Like, I don't know, like Ringo Starr or something, one song per album?" And he said, no, you should use your voice as a kind of layer underneath Helen Mirren's voice. And I did actually start doing that. So that's really been the way we do things since he suggested. So he's basically executive producer of our last 4 albums.
Yeah, fair enough.
Arguably.
Fair enough.
Now he's going to want a credit.
I know.
I've really opened a can of worms here, haven't I? Yeah, shouldn't have said that.
Do you guys have any other memories of working with Brian or meeting him or playing with him?
No, because we didn't. It was just the festival, really. And there was one time when he invited us to the House of Commons for a Lib Dem conference, like a political thing.
That was pretty weird.
Which was odd. It was kind of funny, but
what did that entail?
It was who was
going into a room full of like
men.
Yeah, like Brian May
in suit.
Brian May next to Chris Martin next to
and listening to who's the leader of the
Nick Clegg.
Nick Clegg giving
it was about
a speech.
the power of creativity.
Yes, it was about creativity. So it was all good intentions, but it was very strange that we were there. Yeah.
Did you speak, or were you just there as attendees?
No, and I don't think any of us were Lib Dem supporters. So, but it was fine.
It was more like a tourist trip. Like, let's go inside the House of Commons.
Yeah.
We're all about tourism here today, obviously. So it's interesting that you brought up the singing thing because, and speaking of London, there's a song on this album, For the Life of London, which is that the title, or For a Life in London, sorry, that I believe is the first time all 3 of you have had singing on a Ladytron track. And this is 8 albums and 25-ish years into your career. So I'm just wondering why at this point in your career did this finally happen?
I'm pretty sure it is the only one with all 3 of us on.
I'm not so sure about that.
It can't be.
I'm not so sure about
that.
The
press release says it is.
Yeah, I think at least at the time of writing, it was considered to be. I don't know. I think it probably is, or it's maybe the only one that we're all audible. Like maybe there was something else where I was just a BV or something.
I don't mean like background.
On that track, though, I mean only my part's basically a BV. I wouldn't really say that.
No, you're in the outro.
But let's not argue with the press release.
I mean, if we need to have it amended.
Never explain.
Okay. Yeah. Or I definitely read that somewhere because that fact jumped out at me because I thought that was strange that wouldn't have happened sooner. So we'll just say it happened.
Yeah, let's just say it happened. Just say it happened. But actually, when we play live now, there's 3 of us singing on quite a few, Death in London and stuff like that. So I guess that's where the confusion is. We do it.
Well, let's clear up some confusion about Death in London. Were you just joking when you said it was played on Leonard Cohen's keyboard? Is that a fact?
No, it was true. It was his Casio. There's a very famous photo of Leonard Cohen smoking a cigarette and playing this little white Casio keyboard. And it was this keyboard, a PT30, and it was where you had like this kind of auto chord. You could actually play a melody on it, and it would work out what chord should be there. Loads of good songs have been written on that, actually. Not just Leonard Cohen. A Man-Child by Nana Cherry was written on that. So yeah, it was.
It's just like some Casio lying around that you can like. How do you have access to Leonard Cohen's Casio?
Oh,
it's not his.
It's just the same model.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's probably misleading.
I thought it was actually like physically his.
Just
I
passed
stole
on
it.
from Nana Cherry
I was
to
just
Leonard
like, how did that
Cohen.
happen?
Yeah, there's only one of them actually. It's like
You should just keep that like myth running.
we're
I'm here to debunk.
bursting
and
on the
clarify.
bubbles. Yeah, we're being audited now.
It's all good. It's all. I
It's
read
mainly
that.
the press release that's being
That
audited.
was not in a press release. That was in one of your interviews, but because it was a text interview, I was like, are they saying this snarkily or is this actually like literal?
I'd love
So
it
we
to be
cleared it
true.
up.
I'd love it
Let's
to be
just say
true, and
it's
that's the
true.
important thing.
Let's just say it's true.
If you say
I
it,
have
to
his
believe.
cigarette ash still, sort of.
I don't recall. I have to look at that picture. I don't think of Casio and Leonard Cohen. As a thing.
Once you see it, you'll have a poster of it on your wall.
I absolutely will. So obviously, though, you've had a lot of supporters. I've mentioned Brian Eno. I know that like the Pet Shop Boys have like lots of people have sung your praises. I have a full list. Trent Reznor obviously is a big fan. Took you on tour. But I do want to talk about. I'm sure you've talked about it a lot, but I want to talk about your contributions to Bionic, the very misunderstood record by Christina Aguilera. No one kind of got it at the time. There was actually kind of a really bad backlash to it. You're making a fan, not because of you guys.
No, I think there was a backlash followed by a forelash, I think.
Yeah. It's kind of like art pop by Lady Gaga, or there's some other albums that kind of like don't really get understood at the time, especially in the pop space, especially if it's a female pop star that you kind of expect is one thing when they kind of veer. And a lot of people like that. And I actually have, I don't know if you know this, but I wrote this down. Birds of Prey. You did 2 songs from the album, Birds of Prey and Little Dreamer. But Birds of Prey, I don't know if you know, was named by Billboard as, one of the best deep cuts by 21st century pop stars.
Really? When did they say that?
I don't know.
Nobody told us. It's
Literally,
nice.
it was an article, Best Deep Cuts by 21st Century Pop Star, and Birds of Prey was on there.
Okay, good.
So there you go.
I think that record, though, we always say that the vision Christina had for it at the beginning when we started working with her was quite different to how it ended up. A lot of what she planned ended up being like disc 2 of this deluxe. So that was kind of what she had in mind. And I think it was too weird for her audience, and the label were a bit freaked out. And
so it was going to be weirder than
it was
what we
way
got,
weirder than what you
people
got.
already thought it was too weird.
It was way weird.
Huh.
The singles, I think, were added later. To be more familiar to our audience. It was way weirder. Birds of Prey was going to be track 1 on it. She was talking about starting her live sets with it and everything.
And it only ended up being a bonus track.
Yeah, basically.
If you look at the comments on YouTube for both of your songs, the Birds of Prey one, there's a lot of people saying this should have been the single, history would have been different. A lot of people, I guess, agreeing with that Billboard thing. The Little Dreamer one, people go, this is how the album should have sounded. But she reached out to you, right? It wasn't like some weird label person saying, oh, let's try to make her sound indie or whatever. That was all her.
All from her.
How did that happen?
If you think about it, it's such a shame that an artist of that size and like talent like can't do what she wants. I mean,
especially by then, she was several albums in.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty, really.
Just that kind of pressure. I mean, we don't really know what was going on behind the scenes, but there was a definite shift as we're going to have to appease people.
But it's like nowadays. Would that happen now? I mean,
much more so, I think.
Like Gaga can do a jazz album or like an operatic album, and that's cool. But
I think she'd get away with it. She'd get away with it now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe it would be okay now, but
it just struck me as very genuine because it was just she contacted us through her management, and you assume that this is something set up, like you say. But it wasn't. It was from her. She'd basically got a list of artists that she listened to that she liked and said, I want to work with them, rather than asking the producer, can you approximate this? Make something that sounds like this is just how most people work, if we're honest.
Do you know who else was on her wish list?
Oh, well, she worked with
Peaches.
Alison Goldfrapp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Santi Gold.
Wow.
Mia, not Mia.
No, Peaches she worked with.
Someone else.
That's pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
That's a good roster right there.
Yeah, so I think you can hear on disc 2. You can hear what the record was intended to be.
Disc 2 didn't come out until quite some time later, though, right? It didn't come out at the time of Bionic's initial.
I think it came out at the time, but it was like a deluxe edition or something. So it was all a bit confused at the time.
Because I feel like the comments, I got deep in the rabbit hole on YouTube. The comments on Little Dreamer were like, finally this is out.
It got re-released. It got released on streaming for the first time, like about 6 or 7 years ago.
That's crazy. It took that long.
Yeah.
Well, let's debunk a couple other myths here. I have read, is it true that you actually either considered giving her or gave her Destroy Everything You Touch?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
No. She
Glad we cleared that up.
It's
good you kept it for yourself, regardless.
She was given an instrumental of Ace of Hearts. Nobody knows that, but it didn't get used.
Okay, so cleared that one up. I've mentioned how there are a lot of pop stars and rock stars who love what you do. Is it true that Addison Rae has worked? I mean, I know she's a fan, but is it true she's asked to work with you? Or
yeah, she approached us, but nothing happened.
Will anything ever happen?
I don't know.
But she did approach you.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that someone of kind of a Gen Z pop star like her, mainstream pop star, was wanting to work with you guys?
No.
Not really.
No, I mean, I guess we.
I mean, of course.
I would be surprised. A load of younger people got into us because, like, 17 in 2021, 17 viralized on TikTok, which was basically we didn't lift a finger; it just happened. It was completely organic. We just observed it from afar, and I think that's how she discovered us.
And I was going to ask you about that because it was an interesting trend where it seemed like a lot of young women who are, young people on TikTok, mostly women, girls, they were really interpreting the lyrics to 17 in a pretty profound way, a pretty interesting way. Could you talk about that and how you felt about that?
I mean, we didn't know what TikTok...
I'm not on TikTok.
We didn't know what TikTok was when it happened. So we didn't really see a lot of this, but it was relayed to us and none of us used it. And
it was basically like nieces and nephews and like friends' nieces or daughters, and they would get in touch and say, "Oh my God, like, have you seen this?" And we were like,
"What's TikTok?"
Yeah, I don't know.
and then Steve, our manager, sent us an email going, "Have you any idea what this is about?" And it was just a screen grab of like the spins of 17 on Spotify streams, and it was just like tootling along at the bottom, and then it was just this vertical line off the graph. And you've got any idea what this is about? And I said, I think it might be the internet.
It's always the internet. Well, weren't like young women, I mean, obviously, like I have not gone down, I'm not on TikTok that much anyway, and these are TikToks from a few years ago, but I've read that there were some the way they were taking these lyrics to apply to their lives.
Yeah, a lot of interpretations like that. Yeah, a lot of interpretations, like personal interpretations. It was like a kind of medium for them to talk about their own lives. It was really quite serious, like quite harrowing, some of it, to be honest. But, we didn't get much involved with it because we're not on TikTok anyway. But people...
Are you now?
Well, with the band is, but...
Are we?
We're not. Yeah. There's some kind of Marie Celeste style TikTok account there.
Are there any, since I was talking about collaborations you have done or maybe would do or have been approached to do, are there any dream collaborations you have that you'd like to work with or people you like to write for?
I feel like if we say it, it will not happen.
I feel like if you say it and put it into the universe, it might.
You think it might? Okay. All right.
I don't know, because like we've had things that were going to happen and I have told one person and it's always fallen through.
Yeah, it's
Well,
enough.
I'm not saying confirm things that are happening, just like if I could work with anyone.
Good.
Blank, Cher, or whoever.
Who's it? Let's name someone impossible. Like Cher. Let's just go with Cher.
I mean, I could see that happening.
Barbra Streisand.
Okay.
Debbie Harry.
No, I don't want Barbra
Streisand.
Streisand because I don't think her voice is any good anymore.
Actually, Andy Bell from Erasure said he wanted to work with us.
Oh, I could totally see that.
I think Pet Shop Boys would be cool.
Yeah. I think people like that, it's completely...
Oh, no, Chapel Roan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like all of those could happen. Maybe not the Barbra Streisand one, although that would be pretty.
Why
epic.
not?
Why not?
I know. What's wrong with
now that
Barbra
you said that,
We'll
Streisand?
have her too. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's get a kind of like We Are the
list.
World situation. We'll just have everyone. Get Springsteen in there,
Yeah.
Bob Dylan.
Ladytron Aid.
Yeah.
You have your own concert.
It's just our charity. It just comes to us.
Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. I'm actually a fan of it wasn't really a collab, but like Kylie-tron. The
Mhm.
mashup that was on John Peel's
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
it was Playgirl with Can't Get You Out of My
Yeah.
Head.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that until recently.
Yeah.
It came up in another interview actually, and
The Kylie documentary
Yeah.
just came
Yes,
out.
yeah.
I mean, I'm always thinking about Kylie, but more people are probably thinking about Kylie.
yeah,
But that was a classic mashup at an era of classic mashups.
I'd forgotten all about it because it got a little bit overshadowed by Soulwax's remix of 17, which they did a remix of Can't Get You Out of My Head, like a rock version of that.
Oh.
And when we were in the studio in Los Feliz recording, and I sent the demo rough mix of 17 to David from Soulwax, Too Many DJs, and he was like, "Oh, this is an instant classic." And I was like, do you reckon you could do a remix, like a kind of rock version like you did with Kylie? And about 24 hours later he sent it back. He'd just recorded it all, recorded the drums, everything, and had this version. It basically sounded like Sonic Youth or something.
Yeah.
So I think all of that kind of erased the Kylie-tron thing from my memory, I think, in the confusion.
Not for mine, putting it back out there. I mean, but I was talking about how that was a classic era of mashups. Too many DJs are crazy. There's also Z-Trip out here, but there's another one whose
I
name
remember
I'm
Z-Trip.
forgetting.
Richard Eck,
Yes.
Two Girls on Top.
Because that started,
And
yeah.
Girl talk. So I don't know how you feel about this term. You've talked in the past about your feelings about the term electroclash, but how do you feel about the term indie sleaze? Because now people are calling everything from that era indie sleaze. And that term was not a term that existed in the odds,
Well,
but
yeah,
I'm here
that's
for
the
it.
key. That's the key thing. I think it's good because it's made that time, it's reappraised that time. But there's a lot of things that are a lot of incongruity, that things that were not really related to each other that have actually been put into that. But I think it's fine. I mean, Electroclash at the time, we just hated being told we were something after we'd been independent and doing things ourselves. There was a very loose scene going on pre it being called Electroclash that we were involved in. We hanging around in Berlin with Peaches in like 2000 and stuff like that.
You hanging out with Princess Superstar? She
We
spent
did.
a lot of time in
After,
Berlin, and
yeah.
she's been to
Just
this
a bit
after, yeah.
But as soon as they said it was Electroclash, we go, hold on, we didn't agree to this, and it felt like we were being press ganged onto a kind of sinking ship because it was bound to fall
But at the
apart.
same time, Ruben and I went and DJ'd at
At
that
the
first
festival.
party.
Yeah,
So it started out as a festival, basically, and it was like right after 9/11.
yeah.
And it was this kind of crazy hedonistic atmosphere, and it was quite special, actually. But for us, it just very much felt like we were observers and we were letting on someone else's party. And that's why I think part of the like surprise and sort of like, we're not part of that, because we didn't feel like it was our scene.
And we didn't
We were
want to,
allowed in, but it wasn't our thing.
but we didn't want to be someone else's thing as
Yeah,
well.
that's
we,
the thing.
we
It
were
was-
pushed to the front of it. It was like, oh, we are like the definitive Electroclash thing. It's like, and we did like one, I think it was down to one press trip in like just after we recorded Light and Magic, and we were in the US, and every interview we did, we would be asked about this, and we would deny that we were part of it. So it became like our catchphrase. And then I remember
We're not
We're not
Electroclash.
Electroclash.
Yeah.
And then I remember someone saying to me, it's like, oh God, the way that you're constantly denying your Electroclash is just so Electroclash. And then we couldn't escape it. It was like Streisand
I'm sorry,
effect.
bring it up. Streisand.
No,
There we
but
go.
now something changed. But
Yeah, I
personally,
get it.
when we were on tour, like our first US tour in 2003, going into places that like smaller cities, like in the Midwest and stuff like that, and what Electroclash represented to kids we met there was like this portal to this imagined New York, this magical Berlin, magical Paris, magical London that they didn't have access to and might never have. And once we started seeing it like this, it was actually a really colourful, positive moment.
Yeah.
So our opinion of it changed. We never hated it. We just didn't want to be called it. That was the problem.
It was almost like you look at it now, and I feel like it really did influence a lot of pop culture. It was probably like 10, 15 years ahead of its time. So now it kind of feels like, oh, it's nice to be associated with it.
Yeah, we accept it now.
I mean,
We've
at
done
the
a
time,
But it was
360.
very much,
Yeah.
it was basically, it was started, sort of, it was launched by this guy, Larry T, who was a producer, but he was a club kid and it was his birthday. That's what it was. He threw a party for his birthday.
And it was called the Electro Clash?
The Electro Clash Party. And he kind of
oh my God,
released like a mixed compilation. And that was kind of the Electro Clash album. And then some sort of journalists in London got hold of it. And it became like a catch-all phrase for anything electronic with an octave bass line.
Sort of like New Rave, I guess, when the
New
Clapsons
Rave
came
took
out.
over.
That kind of segued from there. When we met, like when we put the Claxons on in our club in Liverpool, the first show outside London, and they were big fans of us, and I felt like it was kind of continuation of that scene. They were just younger, and they had a little bit more of a punk sensibility to them.
I mean, I guess maybe at the time it was good that you weren't that you resisted that labeling, because I actually, like you were saying, like you all were saying, I think, and I've talked about this when Princess Superstar was here, I think it was a really important scene. It was very queer positive, sex positive, a lot of women, Peaches, Chicks on Speed, it was just a cool scene. But from what I recall, at least in the UK press, it never really got big enough here to have a backlash here. But in the UK press, the backlash was like 2 months later, everyone said it sucked.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we launched our album, we released like magic, just timed perfectly for the backlash. After just denying that we were anything to do with it, we bore the brunt of all that, especially in the UK, because we were like the UK's representative in this. But ultimately, it didn't affect us.
I think of you as, I thought of you as being, I guess, adjacent to it, or certainly like part of a larger, but like you guys didn't wear a bunch of neon clothes and American Apparel span, like you didn't have the look.
Aesthetically, it was totally different. Yeah.
Well, why do you think there was such a, is that just typical of the UK press? Or sometimes I've likened the Electro Clash backlash almost to like what happened here in 1979 with disco, that there was a malice.
I think that there is a little bit of that. I mean, the British press does have kind of a quite a sharp edge as well. There was a malice to it. I think that the queer sort of thing was kind of, when you look back on it, that was definitely an element. But there are the cultural things that you don't really see as part of it, but there were comedy shows like Nathan Barley at the time that kind of satirized. There were fanzines that Mighty Bush that kind of satirized kind of bits of culture.
Is there
and
a Mighty
Bush?
Easy
thing
there's
to satirize.
There's a Mighty Bush Ladytron satire, direct one. Yeah, it was quite fun. When I saw it, I was laughing my head off. Yeah.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please finish your thought, but I want to hear about that.
It was basically like these other bits that it was an easy thing to satirize, and it got satirized, and sort of it got satirized because of other things around it as well. So I think that's why the backlash as well. We were perceived to be kind of, I don't know, it's kind of,
but I feel
flash in the pan kind of thing.
Well, obviously you're not. We're here 25 years later, but I kind of feel like you've made it if the Mighty Boosh satirized you. Is that on YouTube? I do not know about this.
I think the episode is called Jazz, I think.
I know the Jazz episode.
Yeah, okay, so it's
I know that sketch where like
they form an electro band. They form an electro band, and their song is "I'm Electro Boy, You're Electro Girl." and the guy and Vince has an asymmetric mustache, which I thought is I'd only just grown a mustache at that point, and I said this is a direct attack on me.
The band.
How did you were you stoked about that? Like, oh my god, we've made it. We're like on that, or were you insulted?
I was worried that no one would know it was it was about us. It was a kind of milieu stuff. It wasn't just us.
I have to watch that right now.
The band that was in that, was it Robots in Disguise?
Yeah, they were going. Yeah, one of them was going out with him.
Yeah. I actually remember. So my friend managed them.
Yeah, they're in the episode. Yeah. They play the two band members.
London.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I have to. Have you ever met them and talked about that with them?
Yeah. I met Noel.
I think I DJ'd like some places where they played.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, whatever backlash was happening with Electro Clash or anyone thinking you were a flash and pan, that didn't happen. What do you attribute your longevity to? Because maybe there were some time maybe there was a point at that time where people did not expect that you would have this lasting career and all this influence and have all these people from Addison Rae to Christina Aguilera to Brian Eno to whoever, being fans. What do you attribute to the fact that you're still going and still making music that, while nostalgic, doesn't totally sound like retreads of everything you've done?
I think songwriting.
Persistence.
Yeah. So
kind of involuntary creativity, not really being able to, what else you're supposed to do? Making albums that are designed to be listened to, because a lot of records are not designed to be listened to anymore.
Huh? What are you supposed to do with them?
Well, just there's records made to monetize social media presence. There's a lot of that, and we don't really do any of that. So the records are made to be listened to, and I think that counts as something people appreciated or do want to listen to them. We've stayed consistent. We've never followed any particular trend, or we've probably done the opposite of what people expected a few times, like a witching hour especially. And yet we survived. We've survived labels going bankrupt, being shut down, all of this other stuff, and here we are. So
I think it's persistence in songs.
Yeah.
Also it was interesting to, like, today, so quite a few people who came here for the signing were here because their parents listened to us. And it's a sound that's maybe come back around in the ether as well. It's kind of a sound that was alien maybe 20 years ago and was just us. And now it's kind of almost everywhere in some shape or form.
It's funny when you describe the sound like in its raw components in kind of like a kind of unscientific way. I was at this bar in Sao Paulo where I live, and the waitress was asking me what my band sounded like, and I started to explain it. It's like, well, it's kind of like electronic, female vocals, drum machine, whatever. So she's like Madonna.
Depends what era Madonna.
Well, I just kind of went, yeah, actually, that's enough for me. I'm just going to say we sound like Madonna now.
Yeah.
Why not? That's a compliment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
She's not back to her dance roots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Taxi drivers in London, I used to tell them it's like Depeche Mode.
Also a compliment.
Yeah.
I used to say New Order with female vocal to taxi drivers back in those days.
That's the elevator pitch. Does it trip you out that you guys have been a band for this long? It trips me out. The fact that you have kids who discovered you through their adult age parents, like, does that trip you out?
Yeah.
In a good way, I assume.
Yeah, it's just it happened twice today, right? Twice today during the signing.
That's cool though, because
I mean, it's a good thing, yeah, because obviously that means you've got fresh blood. You've got fresh blood listening to you. But on the other hand, that's a good side. And then on the other hand, it does make you realize how long you've been going, and that there's that time, and you're no longer.
To me, it's nice that the music is still relevant to a completely different generation who've grown up in such a different way to the way people were when the songs were written. It's like a Jurassic era.
I mentioned the term indie sleaze, which is now this term. I actually follow like some indie sleaze account on
So
Instagram.
do we.
Yeah, it's great. They're just always
they DJ'd at our gig in Toronto last time around. Yeah.
And again, that's kind of a term that's been coined to sort of talk about this era from like Y2K and the aughts, maybe when a lot of some of it's indie music, anything from the Strokes, and then some of it's dance music. But I'm curious what you guys think about the fact that there's kind of this revival under that name. Because I think it's maybe because like young kids, maybe some of the kids who came here today, like they're like, wow, that must have been so fun. The only phones people had were razors. People weren't filming everything. Everyone was like going out of the house.
Everyone looked wrecked the whole time.
Yeah, that nostalgia for this kind of spontaneous offline existence.
Yeah.
All we had was MySpace then and Makeout Club.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Makeout Club?
Yeah. Could be
good.
Could be sight. I think I don't know, that nostalgia as well. There's definitely a nostalgia for the 90s going on for people who don't remember it or weren't born. In the same way as when we were kids, it was like, I wish we grew up in the 60s. There was all that kind of thing going on. I guess it's no different, but it's very generationally difficult to perceive how this looks and feels to a younger person having experienced it. It's like there's a lot of films now and TV set in the early 90s, and they're really quite well done, quite well articulated, but they're incredibly eerie to watch for me. Like, for example, there's a new one, Legends, on Netflix, which is kind of set in 1990. There was that Netflix show One Day a couple of years ago, and
the film.
It was a
series.
series version of it, and those things when it's an era that you've actually lived as an adolescent or an adult, and it's depicted on TV or film, I do find this incredibly eerie.
Do they get the details right? Or are you like, no, that we
A
didn't
lot
wear
of it
that
is
then?
right. I'm kind of really impressed when they do, because they can easily get it wrong and there's all this incongruity. But I just find people that it seems to be they're better executed now. This kind of thing, this kind of your wardrobe and details, sets, and
better executed than the Mighty Boosh. Did it? No, of course.
That's very indie sleaze aesthetic. Yes.
So now that I don't know if I'd call it a renaissance, because it's not like you went away or whatever, but now that you're on this creative tear with this record, and 17 introduced you to some new people, and parents are introducing you to people, and Bionic is getting its forelash and everything else. What is next for you guys besides the Barbra Streisand duet, of course? What do you guys want to do next?
Well, this tour is basically we're at the start of this tour, so there's a lot of life in this record. One of the things we wanted to make sure of is that this record wasn't just released and didn't just evaporate in 72 hours, as happens a lot with music these days. So it's been a very long campaign, a lot of singles, and a lot of space to breathe and for people to actually appreciate the tracks before the album came out. And we're going to carry on doing this and releasing, singles and videos, and really expanding this kind of world. Because this album does feel a bit like a physical place. And I feel like, I feel like I've been living in it personally for about 2 years, and I don't really know where to go now. Now there's loads of other people there. And so until I can figure out where to go next, I've got no idea. But we're only just starting the tour, so
Yeah. And we've got a lot of songs from this album,
16?
So
because people are
we've got a lot of fresh stuff that we can play.
Yeah.
So, and as Danny says, we're only just at the start. We haven't. LA is really like the first gig.
It's the start of the tour proper, really.
Yeah. So we should have a decent cycle for this album, really.
Which is kind of, as you said, it's not always how things work anymore. It used to be, you put out an album, you announce the album 2 or 3 months before, and there'd be a few singles, and then there'd be a long tour and other singles, and that kind of doesn't happen as much anymore.
No, the way we've done it is in a way kind of old-fashioned. A lot of singles before the album, but it's kind of more extreme than that, because there were 6 singles before the album.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's like a really maxed out version of our idea of how things used to be done. But
and is there not a single coming out tonight?
There is, actually. It might already be
is it
there.
Tonight?
You can say it, because by the time the interview runs,
it's already gone.
It'll be happening.
Yeah, there's another one dropping tonight. Yeah, we don't know what time, but I guess it
Which
doesn't
one?
matter because no one's going to see it today.
What is the next single? 7th single?
Secret Dreams of Thieves.
Oh, very cool. One of my favorites off the record. Are you just going to release them all as singles?
So it's got a video. I don't know.
16
Maybe like
singles.
Beyonce.
Well, it's
double
because no one
visual.
really listens to albums anymore, So
People-
might as well just release them as singles.
Well, every time we release one of these, like these post-album singles, people go, "Oh wow!" And it's like, "Did you not listen to the album?" Hey, big fan. This is great. It's like, this has been out a month anyway, so we're just going to keep doing that.
Just keep doing it, and we'll just keep, rolling out parts of this interview or whatever. And be like, new single out today. We'll just do it for the next year.
Let's just do eye dance for each one.
Well, in the meantime, though, I'm so glad that you started your tour in LA. I'm honored as an LA native. We're very honored that you came to Licorice Pizza, and so excited that fans of all different eras of life came to celebrate you guys. So thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on this fabulous record.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.